that there are foreign influences among the protesters, that old colonial powers are desperate to get involved. Now he has something concrete to back that up. Alan Fisher, Al Jazeera, outside the Libyan embassy in London.
There have been riots in one of Yemen's biggest prisons. Police fired tear gas after inmates there started chanting anti-government slogans. Officials are denying reports that some prisoners were injured. Security has now been increased at the site. Egypt's caretaker Prime Minister says restoring security in the shortest possible time is a priority for his government. Essam Sharaf spoke to journalists hours after a new-look cabinet was sworn in. Meanwhile, Egypt's prosecutors ordered the detention of 47 police officers for allegedly burning documents at several state security headquarters. Tunisia's interim Prime Minister Beji Caid Sebsi has unveiled his new cabinet after a spate of resignations. It'll be the third caretaker government since the overthrow of President Ben Ali in January. Caid Sebsi was appointed after the previous interim Prime Minister, Mohamed Ghannouchi, resigned after violent protests over his close ties to the ousted president. Here's Al Jazeera's Nazanin Moshiri, who was at the Prime Minister's press conference in Tunis.
You've spoken a lot about the security dangers Tunisia is facing. Can you explain what are these security dangers? Who is creating this insecurity and what is the government doing about it?
Security is a very basic and fundamental issue, and there can be no political change in Tunisia without security and stability. There was a lot of chaos in the country, and people were not feeling safe. So far, we have achieved a lot of improvements on the security front. We're giving it a lot of attention.
Southern Sudan has been hit by a spate of killings with more than 50 dead in 2 days. Soldiers in the south are fighting two separate rebel groups in Jonglei and Upper Nile State. All sides have suffered casualties. It's unclear how many civilians have died in the crossfire. Well, such violence continues to plague the south, which officially becomes a new country in July. Only 4 days ago, 33 people were killed in the disputed Abyei region. Pro-government forces in Somalia have now taken control of a strategic town in the west of the country. An official says rebel al-Shabaab fighters abandoned the town of Luke on Monday morning without putting up a fight. It's being presented as a victory for the new transitional government, which has been in place for 100 days. Vigilante groups, which are loyal to Côte d'Ivoire's disputed president, says they'll do whatever it takes to keep him in power. Gangs have been looting homes of opposition members, and others have set up roadblocks. They've been giving their side of the story to Mohamed Ado.
Ruling the streets of Abidjan, young men take matters into their own hands. Hundreds of them pouring into the streets, setting up roadblocks and searching drivers. They say they're here to help the police and army ensure that Laurent Gbagbo remains the president of their country. Their loyalty to the man is unshakable.
We shall die to protect Gbagbo, and we are doing this to defend the constitution of Côte d'Ivoire. Ouattara is going against the very constitution he voted for.
They take nothing to chance. Nothing misses their attention, and they don't mind who they upset.
I don't appreciate their attitude. I urge them to be polite as they go about what they're doing.
These young men say that their work on the streets has largely been successful and that they managed to nab a number of firearms destined for the rebels in the north. They are also understand instructions to ensure that the movement of UN personnel here in the capital is curtailed.
The UN forces have shown they are not impartial. They are biased. They are responsible for what is happening in Côte d'Ivoire. They have been arming and transporting rebels.
Conditions continue to worsen for civilians as the violence spirals. At least 200,000 people have been displaced, particularly from Abidjan, according to the United Nations. More than 360 people have also died since November. It's a toll that's bound to rise even higher if the current political crisis continues. Mohamed Ado, Al Jazeera, Abidjan.
Rallies have been taking place in Jordan, with Jordan's Minister for Media joining journalists protesting against his own government. And as Mexico continues to battle drugs-related violence, many people there are looking to spirituality for comfort. All that and more when we come back.
As the hot spell extends across the Gulf, we'll still make sure you feel refreshed.
Hello, welcome to another look at the international forecast. It's been a little overcast here in Qatar recently. You can see the cloud, it's sinking its way further southwards, so brighter skies coming back in behind, and yeah, it's going to warm up as well. Temperatures at around 27 Celsius for Doha and also for Riyadh. Similar values there for Abu Dhabi as well, maybe a touch warmer. Wetter weather further north though. We have got some rain affecting Kuwait, affecting Iraq. That will make its way a little further eastwards as we go on through the next couple of days. And look at this southerly wind, picking the temperatures up by Wednesday to around 29 degrees here in Doha, 31 by that stage for Riyadh, so a touch warmer here. It'll be 31 degrees too for Karachi. Still a few wintry flurries on Tuesday afternoon over the higher ground just around Kashmir, but for much of India it's dry, warm, it's sunny too. Good cricket weather there for Sri Lanka, Colombo, with a top temperature of around 32 degrees. Plenty of sunshine too into South Africa, maybe the odd shower over towards the east, but some very wet weather, a chance of flooding into Madagascar, particularly into northern parts of Madagascar, northern areas of Mozambique, and heavy showers there. Seasonal rains stretching their way across a good part of southern Africa, right the way into Angola. Seasonal rains continue across the Amazon basin, the risk of further flooding, but brighter and warmer for Buenos Aires.
Qatar Airways, world's 5-star airline.
A history of guerrilla warfare, a place on the global stage. They were an organization created for a stateless population. But before fighting for their land, why did the PLO fight for independence from their Arab neighbors? Chronicling the turbulent story of the struggle for a Palestinian homeland, PLO, History of a Revolution, at this time on Al Jazeera.
These are the headlines for you. Gulf Arab states are calling on the United Nations to enforce a no-fly zone over Libya. Forces of the Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi are still striking back hard against rebel positions. The rebels have been defending the important oil town of Ras Lanuf on Monday. Al Jazeera has learned that the British soldiers and a diplomat released by Libyan rebels on Sunday were captured after an exchange of gunfire. Egypt's caretaker Prime Minister says restoring security is a priority for his government. Essam Sharaf spoke to journalists hours after a new-look cabinet was sworn in. In Bahrain, Shia Muslims have once again been pushing for more rights in protests directed at the Sunni royal family. In the latest demonstration, about 200 Shia protesters held a rally outside the US embassy calling for Washington to stop backing the monarchy. Protesters still camping